Hey everybody, back working in the oven today. The bus today. We are deleting windows, and essentially, I think I am creating a big oven. It's very, very hot. I have fans everywhere, so pardon the noise on that. But I'm going to show you how it is that we're making these windows and how to install one. Basically, I'm just making sure all these windows I'm about to take out are the same width. And they're not on this side. All the windows I've taken out so far are the same size. Yeah, they are. 27.38. 27.38. Yeah. All the windows are about the same size, but you want to make sure, measure every single opening and make sure they're the same size so you don't make any mistakes. Also, whenever you're measuring your openings, the tape measure can sometimes kind of be deceiving because on these they're rounded. So make sure you get a good view and make sure you're measuring the actual inside where that bend stops to the inside where this bend stops, and you're not catching it somewhere along there. And it's going to change depending on what angle you're looking at it. So just kind of a tip. So the way I'm making these is I'm just cutting out the metal. And I'll show you how I'm doing it all in a second, but I'm using this finger brake that I borrowed from a friend to make these bends in the metal, so that when you take your window out, basically you're just replacing it with this piece of metal, and it's got this rim right here. So, and I know that this is 1 inch. So what I'm doing is, on my measurements is, because this bend is gonna take a little bit of room, I'm taking off 1/8 from my measurement, and then I'm added 2. So this is 1 inch minus 1/8 on both sides, and then top and bottom. Also, just so you know, working with sheet metal is extremely dangerous. I actually started this project a month ago and was unable to complete it because I cut myself very badly when I was walking out of the bus holding one of my little window blanks, my pans. I actually ended up getting 8 staples. So now whenever I'm handling the sheet metal, I'm making sure to wear gloves, and I'm making sure to wear Kevlar sleeves, because buying those is a lot cheaper than a copay. So. Alright, so now I just need to get all my measurements here and have those marked. I'm marking it with this really cool marking tool that I've got at the hardware store. So I need to make a measurement at 1 inch. .28 1/8. And 29 1/8. And I'll get the same measurements on the other side. Alright, with those measured, then I'm going to take this, my straight edge, clamp it down since I don't have any help today, and then I'll score it with my marking tool. And I suppose you could use a marker or a pencil or something, or maybe even soapstone to mark these markings, but I think this is a really accurate way to do it. And when you're doing this, you want to keep it just as accurate as you possibly can be. These little tiny mistakes will make it not fit in the hole. That gives me a nice line to go off of. And that's where I'm going to be making my first bend. Or one of the bends anyway. Can't really see my measurement over here. Oh, here it is. Alright. That does not look square. Something's wrong. This used to be a square, but it wasn't really square, so I ended up making this into just a ruler. It was off by at least a quarter. It's 28 1/8. What happened? I had it on the wrong mark here, so I gotta move this over. Make sure this one didn't move. Yep, we're there. Alright, one last mark on this side and we'll be good to go, and then we can do the other ones. Alright, so now we have marks for our first bend. This mark is going to be for the overall width of the window, what we're making it to be, and then this mark I just marked is going to be the edge of where I'm actually cutting it. So bend, bend. So now I need to make my marks at 1 inch, 29 1/8, and 30 1/8. Alright, there's one side. And this brake actually has a problem with it. It's not aligned, and there's no way to really adjust it. So I can only bend it to a certain amount, and then I have to finish it off with my, I'll show you. I'll finish it off with a 2x4 and a hammer, but this definitely gets the bend going for me. And 16 gauge sheet metal is extremely thin, very hard to bend. I think 18 gauge would have been just fine. I think they said that a lot of bus bodies are made from 18 gauge. So I'm just bending it like that. Then I'm finishing it off this. Without a finger brake, it's got these little adjustable fingers. You wouldn't be able to do this with a normal brake. You can only do two sides because these allow these lifted raised pieces to go into their different finger. Oh, I forgot. It's been a week since I've done these. Oh, shit. I gotta chop these little corners out. There you have a pan ready to take it installed. Alright, now that we've done that, made our pans, I'm going to put primer on these before I put them in so that it doesn't just rust up immediately and make more work for me later. So I'm getting all the oily fingerprints off. Just got some dish soap, water, rag. Wash it real good and then rinse it off with the hose. Alright, so while we're waiting on that to dry, I'm going to go ahead and remove this window real quick. These are pretty easy to remove. Just these 4 clips. just come right out, and if it doesn't, then I have to persuade it otherwise, which this one's in there pretty good. So I'm going to show you how to get these out whenever they won't just fall out like my other ones did. Side. And you're out. So now you got to go through and clean all the old caulking out, butyl tape, whatever it is. Get that nice and clean, wash it with some soap and water for a good bond with the new metal pan. And once the paint's dry, I'll have a new window cover. One thing that helps is if you get a real scraper and not a paint scraper. These will help you out a bunch. Paint scrapers are really flimsy and they just don't work worth a crap. This is one of the windows that was leaking real bad. And you can definitely tell they knew it because there's all kinds of caulking down here where they tried to just jerry-rig it and get it to stop leaking, which didn't really work. Which I don't know why, because it's so easy to remove a window and just reseal it. I don't know why you'd want to cut corners. Some more gooey stuff. It's almost like chewing gum. Alright, all the old caulking is gone. And I just need to get all this dust and stuff out of here. I'm just using regular water, no soap, because sometimes it seems like soap leaves like a residue on there and you have to wash it off. So I'm just using just water and a rag. Alright, one thing to make it easier that I'm doing here is I'm pre-drilling my holes for whenever I put it in there. I just am using the sheet metal screws to screw into each hole, and that way I'm not trying to use the screw to penetrate both pieces of metal. So that'll help. And also I got a little WD-40 I'm putting on my drill bit. That helps with the drill bit cutting through the metal. Alright, so now before I do any caulking, I'm just going to test it, make sure this piece does fit. Put it in the bottom first, and sand it up. That'll work really nice. Now I gotta probably beat this thing out. It's a really good tight fit. If I would have gone the perfect, the exact measurements from one to the other with those bins, the bins would have made it too big to go into the hole. So that's why it's important to take off an eighth off each corner whenever you're, an eighth of an inch off each corner when you're doing your measurements. Alright, now I'm using construction adhesive to put these in and seal them up, which nobody really recommends using. I just think it'd be good. These are not windows or coverings that I ever plan on removing, so I think it'll work just fine. Just get a good bead all the way around the outside. Pay attention to what's coming out so you don't make a huge mess. push on them real hard so you get a good seal on the outside. Give you a nice, good, even reveal. Now I'm actually running out of screws, so I'll have to go back to the store and get some more materials. So look how good that looks from the outside. Got a little bit of caulking that seeped through at the top. At least you know that it's nice and sealed. I would have actually liked for it to come down more at the bottom. None of them are really actually this high. But at the top, since this is construction adhesive and not caulking, you want to get all that stuff out of there. You want to scrape it off, use your finger or tool, whatever, but all that's seeping out needs to be gone. Alright, now that I showed y'all how to do one, I'm just going to go through and do it like an assembly line. I'm going to cut all my metal, then I'm going to bend it all, then I'm going to paint it all like that. So a lot of work to be done. Well, that is it for today. I've got all of the ones that I want to bend already bent. The work's done on that. I just have to prep them, paint them, take out the old windows, put them in like you saw me do already. But it's hot. This is the hottest day of the year so far in Houston. It's 100 degrees and the humidity is about 98, upper 90s for humidity. As you can tell, I'm drenched. So I'm ready to call it quits for the day. But I didn't really show y'all too well what I'd already accomplished. So I just wanted to show y'all. A lot of people wonder why we're covering up so many windows, but we're in Houston, so the more windows we can cover and the more insulation we can put up, then the cooler our bus is going to be and the less our ACs are going to have to fight. This back area is going to be where the bedroom is, and there's going to be bunks on this wall, and then it goes straight to the bathroom. So that's why it makes sense. The one over the toilet, which will be this one right here, I'm thinking I'm going to put a round porthole window in, cut that in just so they have some natural light in there, but obviously you don't want windows in front of the showers or anything. So, and on this side I'm going to be putting windows just along the back here. It's going to stop at this side door because this is where the kitchen's going to start, so we have natural light coming in from all over there. But the whole back area of the bus is going to be covered. Of course, we're going to leave the big back window open, so that's where we'll get all natural light in the bedroom. So other than that, I can return the metal brake today. I'm glad my friend let me borrow it because I don't know how else I would have bent 16 gauge sheet metal without it. Even though it wasn't working right, I was kind of trying to explain it before, but this bottom piece, and apparently it worked just fine whenever it was with him, but he hadn't used it for a couple months. But this bottom piece and this top piece don't exactly line up together. And so over here it's clear until it gets to over on this side. And then these fingers will be over onto this side of it and it won't let it bend up at all. So it only lets me bend it to about right here with it fully down. So my solution to that, as you saw, was to just bend it and then use the 2x4 and beat the hell out of it with a 3-pound dead blow. So anyway, it worked. glad that part's finished. And like I said, sheet metal is dangerous. Everybody I've talked to, and whenever I was telling them that how I hurt myself was with sheet metal, and they said, yeah, sheet metal work is dangerous. So the other day when I cut myself, I got 8 staples in my arm, and I had to pay a $200 copay. There's no telling what my insurance is going to cover or not cover. So these were 20 bucks on Amazon. I'll put a link down in the description below. Get some Kevlar sleeves. They're like 20 bucks. So and wear gloves. Wear your face shield, your eye protection, because you don't want you know, something flying into your eye, a piece of metal flying into your eye. I lost 2 weeks of work because I wasn't being careful, and I really just didn't realize how dangerous sheet metal work is. And I'll tell you what happened. I was carrying one of these window blanks out of the bus right here, and I was coming down off of my steps, and my foot slipped as I was holding it, and then I slipped again, and then the sheet metal hit into this and it dug into my arm, and then I fell down again and it did it again. So I got 2 big gashes in my arm. So anyway, that's it for today. A lot more work to do, so I'll be checking in soon. Bye.